It's michelle.roberts@missamazing.org. Okay. Awesome.
Finally got up on the air. Finally, we had a little internet kind of bumping us on and off, bumping us on and off, bumping us on and off, and I think we're kind of bumping on now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monarchs Mocha for a Thursday. One more sleep, and then we roll the 2022 American Association baseball season. Let's roll the open. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's roll it.
Dealing with that as well when Trey was here, because I think, there was some sort of issue with maybe double booking it, but right now I still see that you guys are set to perform. Michelle, give me like 20 seconds. The girl that books all of our national anthems, all the encore stuff, is in the office next to me.
As we fade down the music there in Monarchs Mocha, welcome to the show. It's the Monarchs Daily Monday through Friday in-season show. We got one more sleep, and then Sioux City comes a-calling. And this entire week, we've been looking at the new division format, talking to all of our division bunkmates. We've had Steve Schuster on from Winnipeg. Yesterday, with a double dip, we had Chad Eckern and Michael Dixon from Fargo, Moorhead, and Lincoln, respectively. We're going to finish things up with back-to-back Siouxland stories, and we're going to chat about the Canaries today. We'll look tomorrow at Sioux City. And on the back end of the show, I'm going to give you, I already have your pitching matchups for the weekend. How about that? All that ready to go here on Monarchs Mocha. Of course, your questions and comments. You have any questions, comments? There's not a lot of news here. A couple of minor procedural moves on the roster, but really nothing to report. This is a really different Monarchs off-season, as Nick's busy working behind me there. But this is the first time, and I was talking to Joe Capietro about this morning, this is the first time that I can recall where we walk into Thursday for opening day, and there's no scrambling to find roster spots or a last-second trade or clearing a spot or releasing a guy. Everything's set, and we'll talk about that as the rosters were all set last night at midnight. And there's really nothing except for a couple minor procedural moves to tell you about. I'll tell you about that in the back end, but let's go ahead and start things off. This was shot a little earlier this week, and I'm going to it's interesting because I'm going to bring it back down again, but Tanner Hoops is a new play-by-play voice of Sioux Falls Canaries. Now, usually when I record these things on Zoom, I don't put them in the cloud. And I didn't know this. When you put them in the cloud will shoot each screen separately, so it switches for you. It's kind of a cool feature, but I didn't know this until post-production. So it's kind of like, it's not normally the two-person screen. It's back and forth, which is kind of cool. But anyway, I taped this earlier this week. Tanner Hoops, new play-by-play man, joined the Canaries, about 2 weeks ago. He's fresh on the job, and he joined us right here on Monarchs Mocha. By the way, everybody wave at Nick. He's behind me. Hey, guys. Congratulations to Nick. The Royals won last night. He's all excited. He was doing Royals cheers in the press box earlier. And hey, he's been doing Monarchs cheers all week. This guy. And by the way, look at the cap he's got on. You want one of those caps? Go to the Monarchs team store downstairs or at Legends Field and get you one.
Better get them before I buy them all.
Yeah, get them all before Nick buys them all. He's going to buy them all out. He's going to have one for every day of the week. That's right. Twice on Sunday. All right, let's roll the interview. This is from earlier this week. This is Tanner Hoops, which is kind of a cool name, I think, broadcast name, the play-by-play voice of those Sioux Falls Canaries. Monarchs Mocha continues our week-long look at our division in the American Association. And joining us, the new, freshly minted play-by-play voice of our friends up north, the Sioux Falls Canaries, Tanner Hoops. Hello, how are you doing? Nice to meet. We're meeting for the first time. Nice to meet you.
Hey, it's great to talk to you, Dan. I've had the pleasure of talking to a few of our colleagues, and I've loved getting to know everybody. And I know that we have hopefully a long future ahead of us, and maybe some stories to go along with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're in a great place, the Birdcage. And first off, give us a little background on you, real quickly, for the fans, the Monarchs fans who want to know a little about you.
Yeah, so during the off season or the Canaries off season, I'm up in Minneapolis. I'm the play-by-play voice of Minnesota Golden Gopher volleyball in Learfield, and then the pre, post, and halftime show host for Gopher football in Learfield. I do some basketball and men's and women's as needed, hockey as needed. So
Awesome.
that's what I'm doing when I'm not in Sioux Falls. Previously, I'd spent 2 years at ESPN Radio in Marquette, Michigan, up at the Upper Peninsula, and then went just down the road to Sioux City and worked in the USHL down there for a season. And I tell you what, we were doing this about a month ago. We'd have no reason to do this a month ago, Dan, because I had no inkling this was going to happen. But
Sure.
life comes at you fast, and I'm really glad it did. It's a really cool opportunity, and I look forward to the summer very much.
Well, I'm glad you're with us. And Tanner, first off, the stadium going through some major renovation with the new field. Tell us about that. I've seen the pictures on social media. They've got new field turf. Looks like it's ready to go. That's exciting for the folks in Sioux Falls.
Oh, I can't wait. It looks beautiful. And, I don't take for granted, I'm sure you're the same way, and probably most of our colleagues, that how cool it is. We get to go to work and we sit out in front of a baseball field and we do our thing. That's just something really special that not everybody can say. And to see what they've done to the field here, even since I took the job, got up there was no turf in, it was all
Right.
dirt. It looked like a softball diamond. It's come a long way, and it's really cool to see. I know the players are excited about it. I was watching film with a few of the guys from last year earlier today, and there's a noticeable divot when you're trying to round first base and go to second. And I know they're all excited that that's going to be gone, and maybe a few more pier hops on the infield now. So I think it's going to continue to add to a revamped Birdcage, and hopefully not only translates on the field, but the fan experience, it adds to that as well.
Monarchs Mocha here as we count down to opening day in the American Association. Our guest is Tanner Hoops of the Sioux Falls Canaries. Mike Meyer, a guy that's been in the top step there in Sioux Falls for a couple of years, and I know you're getting to know him. Tell us how things are going, at least training camp wise, leading up to opening day for you guys in Lincoln.
Well, it's a revamped roster in a lot of ways. I know there are some familiar faces that come back, but I think a lot of new ones that Canaries fans are really going to get to know and enjoy right away. Guys like Gavin LaValle, I think, was a big offseason signing.
Right.
Riley Farrell is a guy out of the bullpen that I think is going to solve a huge need. Mike is a meticulous guy. He's very detailed oriented. He's a hard worker. I know he's not pleased necessarily with the wins-loss record. I know that's something he wants to improve, and I think he feels that it can improve this season. You've got your mainstays. Jabari Henry is arguably the face of the franchise from a player standpoint, and Wyatt Ulrich certainly is a building block after what he did last season. So I think the pieces are there. I think there's a lot to like about the starting pitching staff this year. If they stay healthy, they can be effective. So I'm excited for Mike because he puts in the work. I know the win-loss record can be really deceiving, but he puts in the work. He cares, and I'm hoping that we can continue to build on that and bring it all to fruition this year.
Yeah, the last couple of years we were talking about this, a couple of guys a few weeks ago. The Canaries, at least the full seasons, of course, a playoff team on the COVID year, but the last two full seasons really were rocking and rolling. At one point in 2019, this is obviously before you, but they were the best team in the association going into August, and then all of a sudden things kind of fell apart. Sort of the same thing last year. Had a pretty solid run as well. What's it going to take to get over that hump? Keep that run going.
Yeah, I think that the starting pitching is really where that lies. When healthy, this group I think can really be dangerous and give you a chance to win. It's where a guy like Farrell I mentioned, that back end of the bullpen,
Right.
That was an issue for them a season ago, and I think they've addressed that. They've went out and they've gotten some guys with experience who've been around and been effective at all their stops. I think we're going to see a revamp back into the bullpen. And I think the defense overall just has to continue to get better. I think it will. I'm excited to see how the numbers change now that they're playing half their games on field turf as compared to a season ago. But they've got some areas certainly to improve on. I feel like they've addressed those areas this offseason, and now it's just time to put it all together.
Tanner Hoops is our guest from the Sioux Falls Canaries. Play-by-play voice there. I'm in spring training mode myself here on Monarchs Mocha. We're wrapping things up here. Division's different. Of course, you weren't here last year. We mentioned that. But division bunkmates are different now. We've added Winnipeg and Fargo. I don't know about you, but for me, I look at this thing and go, there's going to be some really good clubs not make the postseason because this thing looks like it's pretty stacked up and down from Winnipeg all the way down to Kansas City.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute slugfest. And you know what? I don't know that there's really an off night throughout the league this year. I'm not sure where you're going to find that. Right. Like you said, I wasn't here a season ago to see what that was like. But the way it stacks up this year on paper, I mean, you said it perfectly. There's going to be some good teams that are going to be sitting home in September.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, you're the Cage, known for power. You got your home run call down because you're going to see lots of long balls. And when Kansas City comes to town, we may be there for hours because those two teams, at least last year, had a lot of long balls. You got your long ball call down because that place does that ball travels there.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're we're getting a few of those spring training bugs worked out.
Yeah, it's one of those places where even when I was at Gary South Shore 5 years ago, whatever, and Gary never had a lot of power except when they went to Sioux Falls, and it was always like then those young Gary rookies were all like, "We're going to Sioux Falls, man! This is awesome." Wrapping things up here, what's it going to take as far as you mentioned over the hump thing? What's the one key you think that's going to be the Canaries have got to do? They've got to do this, and they do this, they're going to be fine. Is there anything out there you can think of that they've got to do?
If the starting pitching staff stays healthy, if you can get 3 or 4 of those guys to get 15, 20 starts throughout the season, they're going to be in pretty good shape. I really think this is a staff that, if healthy, is going to give you a chance to win almost any given night. Defense, I think, will improve, is going to continue to improve. I think offense has usually been there. They may take a step forward this year, but pitching, whether it's the guys in the starting role staying healthy or the back end, the bullpen being effective, that's going to be the key, in my opinion, to Sioux Falls' success this year.
Tanner, appreciate your time, and great to meet you. Looking forward to seeing you up in the Cage and down here in Kansas City as well. And welcome to the American Association. Good luck to you this year.
I really appreciate it, Dan. Great meeting you, and looking forward to crossing paths in person.
Oh, yeah. I get it. Okay, whose name is on the card?
Great to have Tanner Hoops with us there on the show. And appreciate his time joining us earlier this week. Dan Vaughn back with the Monarchs Mocha. Get a little adjusting of a couple of things here. We producing the flyer on this parts. There we go. We're back at it. And Nick's back at it behind us. A couple of things. First off, the big news for Sioux Falls is the Cage going field turf. And that's going to be a big change. He was mentioning, and I'd forgotten about this, but I've heard several players tell me over the years that turn at first was kind of a turn down and up a hill. That's gone. To be a little truer. Field turf, say what you will about it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It will prevent any kind of crazy situation where it rains out. That'll be good. There was a situation, I believe, 2016 when I was there with the Gary South Shore Cats where really the rain hit us right at the first pitch, and the game was washed out because that field just didn't hold that kind of water. Noble says, so pumped that the season started. We are too, mate. Forward to having you upstairs as we ready for baseball as well as GMW is driving out to the hub city. Howdy, everybody, driving out to Lubbock. You guys have a safe trip. Much love to you. A couple of notes, though, and a couple of things. Like the field turf thing. The real thing to me, and I think Tanner was right on with it, the pitching, that's pretty much generic for everybody. You got to have good starting pitching. But that's really where Sioux Falls has broken down the last couple of years. And remember, 2019, we go back to the association season when the Monarchs won that division as the old T-Bones. Sioux Falls was the best club at, let's say, the 70% bowl. Past the All-Star break, they were the best club, and all of a sudden they hit a wall in August, and they fell off. About really started the week before August, and they fell off. They've had a couple of runs like that, and I think I talked a bit about Lincoln yesterday laying in the weeds. Sioux Falls lay in the weeds as well, because, on paper, see our expert like Kevin Luco on there and Rob Paneer, guys like that are going to look at the Canaries and the Lincolns and probably, obviously, the chalk is a look at the Monarchs, and why not? The on paper, as I told Mackenzie Nelson with Channel 41 today, on paper, this thing is the best roster in the league. But you don't play it on paper. You got to play the games, and that's why we all wear uniforms and play the games. On paper, you don't put the Canaries and Lincoln in the same breath, but I can make an argument, and I was talking to a couple people today about this. Any club in this league, in this division, could be the number one team in the division or the league. And I can also flip the coin and say this is why they won't make it. I think it's that cut and dry, and usually it's along the same lines of things like health, rotation, playing those pieces, things like that. That's what keeps it going. But again, I think Sioux Falls is in a good spot. They're kind of lurking in the weeds. And along with Lincoln, is Lincoln with Brett Jody having that play. Let's see what Kevin did say. Kevin says, what baseball player said, McCalkin Grays, I don't want to play. Okay, Grays. Who said that? Was that a Yogiism? Is that who that was? Again, I'm not a huge fan of it. I understand why field turf is done. I get it. And I get it for that situation, Sioux Falls. In the margin of error is so slim in some of these smaller markets, a rain out's huge. If you can avoid, if the field turf saves you, let's just say you have 4 rainouts a year in Sioux Falls. If it cuts it down by 2, that investment over the years will actually pay for itself and make you money from that perspective. Again, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think up there with the heat, it won't be nearly as bad. It's tougher places down in Texas, but Cleveland seems to make a run of it too. And, April, May showers and summer boomers can be a thing down in Texas too. So keeps you from getting blown away there. All right. Don't have the coffee today. I got water. It was a little warm up here today. It's like 77 in the booth today. It's definitely definitely bottled water. I did have the iced coffee out, but I don't have any ice for the coffee. But we'll brew that up there. The machine to my right here. A couple of notes here. First off, I have the rotation for the weekend. In the matchup tomorrow night, Kevin McCann, a left-hander, I believe by the Braves organization, will face lefty Matt Hall here from Kansas City, local product, and they'll face off tomorrow night. Tyler Beardsley's back in the league. Beardsley, the right-hander, who I saw pitch in Australia a couple years ago, he'll go for Sioux City. He'll be facing Akeem Bostic. That's a very good matchup tomorrow night. Then the finale on Sunday, it'll be Carlos Sierra, the right-hander, who we saw in 2019 was very good for Sioux City to close out the 19 season. Remember, he was really, he was nails. And a big part of things, and really one of the reasons they went on to the finals in 2019. He'll be facing lefty Lewis Thorpe, the Australian. So a couple of Australian connections in the rotation this weekend. They'll get lefty, righty for Sioux City, lefty, righty for Kansas City. And that's the way things stack up. Roster was all trimmed down too. The only real note to pass along, they're procedural notes. There's a list this year called the Visa Reserve List. Visa Reserve List, and we're going to hear from Sioux City tomorrow. I believe Connor was telling me the other day they have a couple of guys on that Visa Reserve List. The Monarchs have placed Ibadel Isabel on that Visa Reserve List. So Ibadel, who was not here last weekend and for the training camp, is on the Visa Reserve List. And all that means is that is while the visa paperwork gets sorted out. It can be, especially in this day and age, it takes some time to get those visas sorted. And that is something that the league has come up with, a visa list. It also helps going back and forth between Canada and the United States as well. So that also helps as well. This is sort of was used last year in that it was the Phantom list last year, where that's kind of transitioned to this Visa Reserve List, and that's where Bostic went. And then Carlos Diaz is on the inactive list. That dropped you down to the number 25 for the Monarchs. And just to give you a quick rundown of that before we let you go, as I guess I should do that. I didn't put a graphic up, but let me give you the roster as we have it's comprised and be released here this afternoon, if I can pull it up for you. Just quickly tell you that Monarchs will carry 13 pitchers. And 5 infielders. Your pitchers will be Nick Belzer, Matt Blackham, Akeem Bostic, C.J. Carter, Brock Gillingham, the local product, Matt Hall, John Harris, Matt Hartman, Brandon Coach, Jacob Lindgren, Jordan Martinson, Jamison McGrain, and Lewis Thorpe. Your infielders are Matt Adams, Casey Gillespie, Pete Cosma, Kevin Santa, and David Thompson. And then your outfield, Willie Abreu, Joel Booker, Gabby Guerrero, Jan Hernandez, and Darnell Swinney, although Darnell can play both infield and outfield. He's listed as an outfield. And your catchers, Alexis Olmeda and JC Escada, will be your guys by the dish there. There's your roster right there. 13 pitchers, 5 infielders, 4 outfielders, and the 2 catchers. And that is your 2022 opening night Monarchs lineup. Last call for questions and comments. I got them for you. Let's see. Dick Allen said that. Dick Allen said it, Kevin said? Okay. I just assume it's a Yogi Berra, yogiism, because what was it he said that deja vu all over again? Is that what he said? There's some great baseball quotes. You know, I love those old baseball quotes, and I'll be diving in this afternoon to some of the old newspaper stories for things like shoots and markers and, free transportation to first, all those old school terms that came in the old 1930s and 40s newspaper stories. But last call and questions about the roster, about the show, about anything. Start with the late start tomorrow. Connor Ryan on opening day will join us, the Sioux City Explorers voice. As Sioux City comes a-calling, we'll be in game day mode tomorrow right here at the ballpark and ready to go tomorrow night, 6:30 on MixLR, the American Association Television as well, all rolling tomorrow night as we will get the 2022 American Association season on the way tomorrow night. And by the way, tonight at 6 o'clock, I believe it's 6 o'clock. Let me double check the time here just to make sure. 6 o'clock, yes, 6 o'clock tonight, Central Time on Twitter Spaces. Please go on there. The commissioner, Josh Schaub, will be welcoming on members of the league to chat in Twitter Spaces. I don't know if you guys have been on that. It's really kind of cool. It's kind of like a talk show format. Chime in and add our 2 cents worth. That'll be 6 o'clock tonight on Twitter. Check that out. Any updates? Let's see. I'm sorry. Any updates to the stadium this year? Yes. As a matter of fact, I can't. Tomorrow I'll try to set up the extra camera and try to give you a little better. But yes, they put the home run patio. Those bleachers are gone that were in the left field. They're gone. Nick behind me's like, thank God. The bleachers are gone. They've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 picnic tables, home run patio out there above that left field wall. A brand new tent area out in center where the group areas will be, a huge white tent. They've got what are those courts called out there?
Got the bocce ball courts out there.
Bocce ball, and they got little kind of a lounge seating out there. They've also got some tables at high tops out in right field above the home run hill. The playground's is being worked on right now. They've actually put up a construction fence because it won't be finished for opening day, but they are working on that all-inclusive playground. There's also work going on right below us on a new Bombora lower level suite, we'll call it. It's a ballpark suite right below us, and that's going on. There are other little touches here and there. They made some touches to the Legends Club into the suite level, some adjustments there, new tabletop rail there, some high tops, things like that. And really, the biggest thing for you, Brian, is the infield is all grass. Gone. It's gone. It's all in dirt now. I didn't say all grass, all the dirt's gone. So there you go. Jim says, we just have as good as last year. Here's the thing about that, Jim. This club could be better than last year's club and not win as many games. And that's not because they'll be bad. It's because the divisions will be that much tougher. Fargo, who was in the finals with you, the division bunkmate in Sioux City was in the postseason. Lincoln, who just missed it the last couple of days of the season. Sioux Falls, we throw in Winnipeg, who has, back home again, finally playing a home schedule instead of barnstorming like they've done the last 2 years. And Rick Forney always brings competitive ball clubs, and they would love to get back to postseason play, which I believe is not, I think since 2017 is the last time they were in the postseason. So it's been a while for them. That's, of course, after back-to-back finals appearances and back-to-back titles. So these are a lot of hungry fans around the league. So it should be a great run. I really believe this is going to be fun. 69 wins. Not saying it's impossible. It'll be a tough call, but I think it's the mark. And I think the home run total of 148 could definitely be in play. Definitely be in play with this bunch. But we'll have to kind of see how it breaks out. And again, each team has their things you're looking at saying this is what's going to have to go right. And I think like we talked about in several shows, and I've done it with Kevin Luca and Rob Paneer on This Week in the Association, I've told them the very same thing, that the key is not so much losing players. Who the Monarchs battle for the Miles Wolf Cup. I haven't dove in as much in the north, not the north now, right? It's the east. I really just a knee-jerk, gun to my head, knee-jerk kind of thing. I like Milwaukee. I just, for some reason, like Milwaukee, but it's a different dynamic now. Something the commissioner talked about on Instagram the other night was that, Gary now with the Railcats changing skippers, be a little different philosophy as well there. I mean, Chicago, Milwaukee are going to battle it out. I love Jim Bennett there at Lake Country. And of course, along with his staff, and he's got Dave Nielsen, the former Brewer, Paul Wagner, the former Brewer. Of course, Nielsen and Jim flip-flop roles for Team Australia, as he's Jim's the bench coach, pitching coach for Team Australia, and Nielsen's the manager. They flip-flop over here in America, and I love that staff. I love Milwaukee's staff. I have a feeling unfinished business is in the back of the Milwaukee's head there, but the same case for Chicago. And those two teams can look and say, well, Fargo's gone now. We've got those two. So if you're going to put me on the spot, I would say Kansas City and field against Milwaukee. That's just my take. But again, they've lost some big pieces. And Keith, the guy in Gary, would tell us, yeah, clear bags really wide. I don't know about that. Don't know. I think, but I don't know. But but again, back to what Jim said, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's going to be a nip and tuck race. Again, you can sit there and point out. And again, the key for Kansas City is and I see the gentleman walking out of the clubhouse now, is to what those holes are, because they were going to come. You're going to lose players. Although I found this interesting, and I think I told you guys this yesterday, that Josh Schaub mentioned that he felt like, the commissioner of the league felt like there'll be fewer transfers. There'll still be transfers. It'll be a very big part. This league, a big partner of the major leagues. But last year, because of COVID and some of the dynamics, there were a lot more coming and going, or a lot more going. He seemed to feel like, from talking to farm directors and scouts and big league folks, that it may not be as big of a faucet, but still it's going to happen. You're going to lose players. And this year it might be more offensive players than pitchers. Last year, the Monarchs were a wave of arms. But the key is, and I think what makes these jobs so important as managers, it's not just the nuts and bolts of the field. It's not the X's and O's. It's not hitting runs. It's not when I pitch out or what pitch to call. It's not that. It's how you refill that roster
For sure.
when you lose folks. That's the biggest challenge, and I think that's what really separates a guy like Steve Montgomery and Joe Capietra and Rick Forney from other guys. I think Brett Jody did it in Lincoln before. I mean, in the Atlantic League before. Right. And that's what the real challenge is how you fill those holes, because you're going to lose those guys. What's the answer here? And I'll let you guys go here. Yeah, it's clear back here. I don't know, Keith, if it's that way everywhere. My guess would be yes. Because it's pretty much that way everywhere. I know in the off season when I've gone to Texas Tech football, it's that way. I don't recall anywhere that seems to be the norm now. And as a matter of fact, you go to your local department store or women's store, they'll sell you a clear bag. As a matter of fact, they gave me a clear bag to keep my sunflower seeds in at Globe Life Field a couple weeks ago. When MLB teams are carrying 20 pitchers for catching, I'd hope they'd leave. Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's another reason why you'll see, I think that's what Josh was saying, that the dynamics in the MILB will also be different too this year. And, and also I think the draft will be a little more fruitful for the major league clubs than it was the last couple of years with all the question marks and COVID and guys. Do you draft a guy? Is he going back? Because guys are getting extra years of eligibility. I think that'll also help as well. All right, last call. The questions here tomorrow back at noon. Connor Ryan for those Sioux City Explorers. They'll come to town. He'll join us on the lunch hour. And hopefully tomorrow we'll have not bottled water, but coffee.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully. I have coffee, but it's just so friggin' hot in the booth. I just had to dry off there. But Durham Bulls, let's see here.
They work great. The functionality is awesome. The issue we have.
Yeah, it's policy everywhere. I pretty much think it's clear bag policy everywhere.
They don't want to go.
Thank you for stopping by this afternoon, for taking just a minute or the entire show. Thanks to Connor Hoops, the new play-by-play voice of the Sioux Falls Canarians. I kind of like the back and forth, that little, it was different, right? I haven't never done it that way before. It was kind of cool. Appreciate this time. Appreciate you. You folks are stopping by, a fan of whoever team you are, and you Monarchs fans. The reason I believe you're the best because you are the best. You're the best. We're the best. You're the best. The fans of the Kansas City Monarchs. Get ready. Good to see Kenny Matthews out there. Enjoy your trip to Florida, my friend. Look forward to seeing you down the Lone Star very, very soon. And we say it every time. Oh, don't forget, our partners at Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. Say it every time, though, folks. Let's be better tomorrow than we were today. Let's show more love tomorrow than we did today going forward in 2022. Go Monarchs. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the show. Let me bring this graphic down. I guess I should have already done that when I was talking. Go ahead and fire up the coffee music, and we'll say goodbye to you folks for another day. I can do it. There we go.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to spend their money on nothing, right? Yeah.